Are humans inherently good, or is evil embedded in our nature? This question has puzzled philosophers and thinkers for centuries. Some believe we are born with a spark of goodness, while others argue that selfishness and violence are our true nature. Let's explore these contrasting views. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, a prominent Enlightenment thinker, believed in the concept of the noble savage. He argued that humans in their natural state, untouched by society's corrupting influences, are inherently good. Rousseau believed that civilization, with its inequalities and competition, is responsible for the evils we see in the world. Confucius, the renowned Chinese philosopher, emphasized the importance of moral virtue and benevolence. He believed that human beings thrive when they live by principles of kindness, respect, and empathy. Confucius taught that through education and ethical conduct we can cultivate our innate capacity for goodness. We see evidence of this inherent goodness in times of crisis. When natural disasters strike or tragedies occur, people often respond with extraordinary acts of compassion and selflessness. Strangers help strangers, communities come together, and the human spirit shines through the darkness. While the idea of inherent goodness is appealing, there's another side to the coin. Thomas Hobbes, a 17th-century English philosopher, offered a starkly different view of human nature. He believed that life without societal rules would be solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. Hobbes argued that humans are driven by self-preservation and a relentless pursuit of power. He believed that without the constraints of law and government, our selfish desires would lead to constant conflict and chaos. History is replete with examples of violence, war, and oppression, lending credence to Hobbes's pessimistic view. Niccolò Machiavelli, a 16th-century Italian philosopher, further explored the darker aspects of human nature. In his famous work, The Prince, Machiavelli argued that rulers must be willing to use cunning, deceit, and even cruelty to maintain power and order. He believed that morality is often a weakness in the realm of politics and that leaders must prioritize pragmatism and self-interest to succeed. Between these opposing views lies a middle ground. Immanuel Kant, an 18th-century German philosopher, believed that humans possess both the capacity for good and evil. He argued that reason and morality are the guiding forces that allow us to transcend our baser instincts. Kant believed that through rational thought and ethical principles we can choose to act virtuously even when faced with temptation or adversity. He emphasized the importance of treating others with dignity and respect, not as means to an end, but as ends in themselves. Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, offered another perspective on the duality of human nature. He described the human psyche as a battleground between the ID, our primal instincts, and the superego, our moral conscience. The ego, the conscious self, constantly navigates between these competing forces. In recent times, cognitive scientist and linguist Steven Pinker has presented compelling evidence that violence has been steadily declining throughout human history. In his book, The Better Angels of Our Nature, Pinker argues that we are living in the most peaceful era in human history. Pinker attributes this decline in violence to a number of factors, including the rise of reason, empathy, self-control, and the spread of humanitarian values. He believes that despite the constant barrage of negative news, humanity is making progress toward a more peaceful and compassionate world. Existentialist philosophers, like Jean-Paul Sartre, offer a different perspective. They argue that humans are born into a world without inherent meaning or purpose. We are free to create our own values and define our own essence through our choices and actions. This existentialist view emphasizes individual responsibility. We are not born good or evil, but we become who we are through the choices we make every day. By embracing our freedom and choosing to act with kindness, compassion, and integrity, we can contribute to creating a better future for ourselves and generations to come. Let's reflect on our choices and strive to make the world a more humane and just place for all.